Good afternoon, ladies and gents, and welcome back to the channel. Thank you very much for sharing your time with me. I'm Steve and you're watching Bushcraft with Steve Outdoors. So you join me once again out in the woodlands on this absolutely glorious day. The sun is truly beaming and I've got something very, very special I would like to share with all of my awesome viewers today. And inside my sack of happiness, I truly do have something very, very special that I've waited a very long time to review. And on this occasion, Ashley over at Winnerwell has been extremely kind as to send over one of his absolutely fantastically awesome iron stoves, the Winnerwell iron stove. That's right, that's what we're going to take a look at today. We're going to do the initial unboxing and then we're going to cook up some lamb steaks and some tender stem broccoli with a bottle of Coke. Let's crack on. Now again, ladies and gents, this is truly a monumental day for me because I waited to get my hands on this stove. For you guys that don't know, the iron stove is an actual camping stove and I've waited a very long time to get my hands on this. So there we have the Winnerwell number 10 iron stove, or the sad iron stove. And Ashley was also very kind as to send a few optional extras. So we have 2 extra wicks there. We also have the additional carry sack we'll take a look at, and also the additional sold separately griddle cast iron pan. This is what we're going to be cooking on in a little while. Now I'm not going to lie to your faces, the box has been opened previously by myself just to check everything was present and correct in the box. But I do have something funny to tell you, and it's not about the size of what's in my pants, because the Victorian Ox Handyman is a very formidable tool. So let's get into the box. So it's a very sturdy cardboard box. We do have a piece of padding on the top, and we're also met by a nice set of instructions there, and they have got like an age-old patina on them, because the history of this stove and the heritage of the stove does go all the way back to the early 1800s, which I'll talk about during the video. So there's no messing about. The stove comes out with a bit of packaging around for protection. And I will make sure this is the right way around. There we have the stove, guys. Check out that wee beastie. That is absolutely beautifully stunning, phenomenal. Absolutely love this thing to death. Ever since I seen it, I wanted one, and I've been waiting an age to get my hands on this for a review. It's finally here, guys. It's finally here. Now let's start with the boring stuff first so we can get this little firecracker fired up. So dimensions, we have a length of 200mm, a width of 130mm and a height of 250mm, 7.9 inch by 5.1 inch by 9.8 inch. The weight of this little cast iron chunky monkey comes in at approximately 2.5 kilo or 5.5 pounds. It has a tank capacity of 600mm and will have a runtime of around 5 hours depending on the height of your burning wick. The materials used in construction: at the bottom we have a cast iron pan, we have flourishes of brass all over the stove, we have a stainless steel burner and mica windows. The mica windows did throw me off, I'll explain that now. We also have the pan rest on the top that is also constructed from cast iron. Now when I opened the box to inspect the contents, I gave the stove a once over. Very impressed initially by the whole build construction of this. It is again beautiful. But then I got to the viewing port windows, and upon tapping them, I thought to myself, because of my complete ineptitude and impatience, I thought there must be windows and glass I've got to put in there. So I went through all the boxes looking for glass panels to put in the stove. Eventually I gave in and I read the instructions and I found out these are actually made from mica and they are heat resistant, and that is your window. So don't be like me, read the instructions. Now ladies and gents, I'm sure you'll join me in agreement when I say that this is a truly beautiful stove, and the aesthetics of this thing really do scream out sort of age-old, vintage, 1800s industrial hardware. And that is because the original stove of this kind was actually introduced to the market in the 1800s. Now the stove did have one purpose back then, and that was to heat up your sad irons. Now if you were like me and you had no idea what a sad iron was, you will be shocked to hear that it wasn't called that because it was actually kept in a dark lonely cupboard in the corner of a room when it wasn't being used. No, The term sad iron refers to the weight and density of the iron itself being made from cast iron. Now the sad iron was a big lump of cast iron that we heated. I didn't, because I wasn't born in the 1800s, but other people heated on top of the stove, and that allowed you to get your creases and crinkles out of your clothing. Now later towards the end of the 19th century, they were actually made to boil water as well. Now Winnerwell has leaped forward a couple of centuries and reimagined the stove and given us this absolutely beautiful thing here, and made it even more multi-purposey than it was before. Now by design you can see the stove does have a very unique look, and it's probably not something you'd ever consider taking out on a solo camp. Due to the weight coming in at 2.5 kilo, it is a hefty beast, but this will be coming out on camps with me in the future. I have waited for this thing for that long. It will be getting used everywhere, and I can hear the naysayers shouting, it's not bushcraft, it's too heavy to carry about. I don't care. It will be coming with me on future camps. I love this little thing that much. Now ladies and gents, let's get up close and intimate with this little stove here. So as you can see, the stove is beautifully built. We have a lovely piece of enamelled cast iron at the bottom here. This is the filling pan, and we have a very nice, looks like a very vintage old sort of bottle stopper here, and that is an actual stopper and not a screw, and that just pops out on an O-ring there, as you can see. And this is where you'll place your paraffin, which we have brought today because I couldn't get hold of any smokeless or odourless paraffin in time for this video, so we'll be using paraffin with this today. On this side we have the adjuster for the wick. As you can see there, the wick rising up and down. This will obviously increase and decrease your burn time, and obviously give you a higher or lower flame. Turning the stove around, we'll find the brass latch for gaining entrance to the actual wick inside, as you can see there. The top also comes apart for cleaning. As you can see there, we have some slotted screws for taking the mica out in case that ever needs replacing. I will say, I've checked on the Winnerwell website to replace these, and they are expensive, coming at £36 for a pack, so they should last a good while though. And that simply just latches back on, sits in, catches back on the latch. Again, everything is beautifully finished on this stove, as I've come to expect from Winnerwell. I've had nothing from them that has disappointed me in the past as well, you know. And this is just a very, very, very special stove to add to my collection, and I'm absolutely in love with it. Now, as mentioned previously, ladies and gents, Ashley has been extremely kind as to send over some optional extras with the stove. But before we carry on, I will say that this is a limited edition run. So even though this stove is quite expensive, coming in at £309, there is, I believe, only currently a couple of hundred of these in the world, and when they're gone, and they won't be making another run of these. So pick one up now while you can, because this will be a very sought after stove. Now we do have copycats in the market who've copied this stove, but they won't hold a match or a torch to Winnerwell. So if you want quality, get this one. Now on to the optional extras. First of all, the carry pack. So we did send over a very, very nice carry sack, bespoke to the stove, and this has got a certain amount of compartments inside where you can keep bottles of paraffin, things like that. So we can just zip it up, he says. Put on your bugger, there you go. So it zips from the bottom, zips from the top, so it is flat pack as well. But I think I will be leaving the stove in this bag for the long term. And there you can see, very, very nice, nice and padded. And the inside, we'll find a nice snug compartment for the stove there. We have a pocket on the side here which is adjustable. We also have a pocket on the front for, I'm guessing, the cooking grate, and with a couple of zippered pockets, mesh pockets on the top as well. Very nicely built. We also have a couple of net pockets on the side of the bag, as you can see. Very nicely done. The second few bits he sent are a couple of extra wicks. I'm not sure how long you get from these, but these come in at around £6.99 UK on the website. 100% cotton. And we also have the cooking cast iron grate. Now again, this box has been opened just to inspect everything was there. and I've also seasoned this today. So this is dual use. So we have a ribbed side here for nice searing lines on your meat or your veg, and on the other side we have a flat panel for eggs, things like that. We also have a very handy holder here that simply slips in and allows you to manoeuvre the grate around the cooker or lift it off, whatever you want to do. It also functions as a bottle opener, so that is very, very unique, a cast iron bottle opener, and I guess you won't find many of them knocking about. And very nice. The cast iron cooking grate fits nicely on top of the stove there. It's a lovely addition, and it is quite sturdy there, as you can see. Fits on quite nice. I will say the handle holes are designed for a right-handed person. I'm a lefty. As you can see there, you're reaching over the stove to put that on as a right-handed, as a left-handed, but as a right-handed, it's easily usable there. Filling the stove is an extremely easy affair, and we are going to remove the full top of the cooker for this. Simply remove the bung, and then we're going to add our paraffin to this hole. Again, this will take 600 millilitres of fuel. I think these smaller trangiers come in at around 320, but we should still have plenty of fuel there to cook today's lamb. Now, once we have relinquished all fuel to the tank, we are going to sit back and wait for half an hour, just until that fuel wicks up the wick, so we can light it, which I am very, very, very impatiently looking forward to. And I've got paraffin all over my fingers. Now, the O-ring on the stopper, that is quite hefty in itself, does look quite substantial, so hopefully no leaks shall be experienced during the use. I would make sure, we'll screw that in just to make sure that's seated. That's in now. Now, it is important to allow time for that wick to absorb that fuel, because if we burn a dry wick, you will reduce the life of that substantially. We can tell when that's ready because it will go from a bright white cotton like that to a sort of creamy yellow amber colour. We can also, if we gently touch the top of the wick there, if we do get a wet patch, that's ready to go. And this wick is ready to burn. Now, I know unfortunately you're not going to get the full scale of this, but that looks truly fantastic. That looks awesome. We can adjust the flame again by the brass knob on the side, and that is already on the lowest flame, pelting out some belting heat. That, wow, check that out, guys. That is absolutely amazing. So the stove is now running, and if I demonstrate here for you, you can see it's still quite manoeuvrable. The base of this does remain cold, and I will say, looking down on the top of the stove, it looks absolutely balmy. It just looks like a lightsaber, like a line of light. We have half a tank of fuel, so let's have some fun. I don't want to start cooking straight away. I do want to get a pot of water on there so I can have a coffee, and we'll do a boil test, see how long that takes. So we'll do a standard cupful, around 400ml. To get my delicious coffee on the go. That should do us maybe a tad more. You guys know how I like my coffee, plentiful. So we're in a titanium 750ml pot. We'll place that on top. So we do have a couple of nodules dotted around. It won't quite sit in the middle, so we will just place it to the side and then choose a moderate heat, and then we'll set a timer, see how long that takes. Ladies and gents, so we are currently at 9 minutes and 51 seconds, and let's see where we're at. So we have got some definite bubbles in the bottom of there, some very hot steam. In fact, they're rising now, so that's close to a boil. I love you, I love you, I love you. I'm going to take you home tonight, baby, and make sweet, sweet brews on you all night. Yeah. You are red hot. Right, ladies and gents, so cooking mode is activated. It is a Sunday, and by tradition we are going to have some lovely lamb leg chops. Now I will say I did have to take out a small loan to get today's food. The price of food recently is absolutely incredibly ridiculous. The lamb chops alone came in at £6.50. £6.50 for this. 2 of them, tiny. £2.86 for some tender stem broccoli. It's not even a full broccoli. Ridiculous. And this is going on. Oh yeah. Oh, would you listen to that sizzle, ladies and gents. So we have a generous sized cooking surface there. These are this big, so more cutlets than chops. But you got enough room on there for a large steak or maybe some sausages and a few other breakfast items. But very, very generous. That should give us some nice seared lines through the lamb there. Truly is a stunning day in the woodland today, ladies and gents. Not just because we are playing with this absolutely awesome stove. We were promised a mini heat wave and they have delivered. Absolutely beautiful clear skies. Everything is green now in this area, so it just brings on that spring summer feeling. Makes you want to get out and camp. Yeah, really, really, really good. I don't want to turn this yet, but I do want to, without knocking this over and scalding myself, grab my coffee. We're on a Colombian today, back with a coffee brewer, just for ease. The sound of happiness right there. Sizzling meat, pouring coffee. Right, let's give it a turn. Oh, that is absolutely tremendous. That's a lovely looking piece of meat. That's what she said, I believe. Let's go in with some tender stems, because I couldn't afford or find the asparagus. Let me show what you do with these. I think you just plonk them on, like so. There's one. And that is all we've got room for. I think I'll snap the ends off. Put one there. Oh, I've not had a lamb for so long outside. I've not brought my chopping board to eat it on, so this is going to be basically tongs in mouth. Let's just taste some of this tender stem broccoli and see if this will be making it onto a future menu. Well, that piece won't. Oh, guys, I'm in heaven. Very, very tasty. There's even some wild garlic over there I could put on. This is coming off and into my mouth. Please don't fall off. In fact, I've got a knife. Let's cut a slice off. Oh, that is lovely and pink inside. I will fetch it over and show you. Oh, check that. Oh yeah. Lamb is definitely coming with me again. Well, ladies and gents, what can I say? That was an absolute pleasure to use. The cooking experience with this stove was flawless. As you can see there, that lamb was done absolutely beautifully. My tender stem broccoli didn't fare so well. It is pretty much scattered around the stove. That was mainly my fault. As we can see here, we've got a bit of sooting on the windows, which is no hardship. We can easily remove that top and give that a wipe out. But apart from that, the stove performed as it should. And it was pretty much, I've just blown the flame out from the top, which is how you extinguish this flame. And it was only really, I'd say about 1/4 of an inch of the wick showing through that blade at the bottom. And that was sufficient to heat that plate on the top and cook our food. So now we have the task of packing the stove away. And I will say the stove did cool down relatively quickly, and that top is now cold to the touch. We will make sure that stopper is in place well and good, because we don't want any spillages inside the bag. So we do have a separate compartment for that, which is the biggest compartment in the bag. Then we have the double-sided grill. We have a slip pouch at the front for that, so that slips in there. That is a greasy mess at the moment, but we'll clean that when we get home. And then we have the 2 wicks. They will go in the top, just like so. 1 and 2. And everything has its own individual place and packs away very neatly and tidily. We also have a separate pocket on the side, a pouch here. In there you can keep ingredients for cooking. I've put my butter in there. We've also got pockets on the side again for cutlery and things like that. So everything is pretty much secure inside there now, and that is ready to go. Now, ladies and gents, it's time to wrap this video up, and to do so, first of all, let me give you my initial impressions of this absolutely fantastic stove from Winnerwell. So, first of all, the stove is absolutely beautiful. I'm sure you will agree. It's like Winnerwell have reached deep into the past, the Victorian times, and grabbed one of these stoves and left all its absolute beauty intact and just added their own flourishes to basically modernise this stove and its functionality for the modern world. The ease of use of this stove couldn't be more straightforward and simplified. There is no pressurising of the system to use that stove. It is as simple as lighting a candle. The build of the stove has been beautifully executed using some really nice quality materials such as cast iron, stainless steel and the brass. Although these are heavy materials, I think it's in keeping with the stove itself. Who is this particular stove aimed at? In all honesty, in my opinion, I don't think this stove has a particular target audience in mind. I think anyone who's into the vintage retro scene, anyone who wants to cosy up the corner of a room with a lovely vintage style lamp, that also functions as obviously a cooker and a heater, this will appeal to them. With that being said, I think this stove will appeal to a certain demographic living a particular lifestyle. For example, those living off grid in tents, caravans and small vans. For anyone who wants a small space heater with the functionality of cooking and heating as well, this is going to be an absolute match made in heaven. What I will say, and what I've learned from past experience, ladies and gents, is don't let others' opinions dissuade your own thoughts. If you are willing and able to carry that into a solo camp, do it, break the norm. There's no reason why you cannot take that to a solo camp, bushcraft camp. For those purists who want to cook their meals solely on a candle made from their own earwax, you know, you do you. But I will be taking that on future camps, whether I'm walking out into the woods, car camping, tent camping, I will be making use of that phenomenal stove. Now, brass tacks, ladies and gents, the price. Now, this can make or break a piece of equipment for a lot of people, I do understand that, especially in today's climate. And the Winnerwell does come in quite expensive at £309 UK, so around $340 US. But I will say that is a bomb-proof piece of kit, and that is a limited run of stoves, so once they're gone, they're gone. So it may be worth making that investment now, because that will be, I'll guarantee you, a very sought after stove in years to come. Now, if you are interested in picking up the stove and the optional extras, they are going to set you back a little bit more. So you've got the initial outlay of £309 UK for the stove. Then you've got the bespoke bag that will set you back around £36.99 on the Winnerwell site. Then we've got the reversible cooking grill, that is £16 UK. Then we have the spare wicks, £6.99 each, and the mica windows, which I'm hoping won't need replacing anytime soon. They will set you back £36.99 for a replacement set. Now, ladies and gents, my final thoughts regarding the Winnerwell iron stove. Now, I think the price tag may put a lot of potential buyers off. I totally understand that, but I honestly do believe if you purchase that stove, you are making a future investment. And on that note, ladies and gents, I'm going to wrap the video up there. So I hope you've enjoyed today's content. If you did, please consider subscribing to the channel. It costs you nothing but means the world to me. And also smash that notification bell so you don't miss any future delicious content on this channel, just like the lamb we cooked today on the stove. Until the next one, ladies and gents, you stay safe, and as always, stay crafty. See you again, guys. Bye bye.